Well, I think in those days, most people coming from New York City or Brooklyn had no place to park their car on the street anyway, so they didn't have a car.
How you doing?
When I worked at John Jay High School on Seventh Avenue between Fourth and Fifth Street, it was alternate side street parking,
Yeah,
and I had to be there at 8 o'clock.
to move, thank you.
No, I had to be there at 8 o'clock to to get to school, because it started at 8:15, because we had 6,000 kids in the school.
Exactly.
I would get to the parking areas about 7 o'clock, up and down the streets looking for a place to park.
You want one? You need one?
Because the school did not have a traditional playground or anything
That you
like
could
that.
use for parking.
Folks,
Right.
just a second, the camera is on. So don't say anything you don't want out. Kitty, this is beautification.
Money market and checking account to Andy Rose and to manage.
We did that this year too.
Yeah, because they're paying. So he's available Tuesday or Wednesday morning. I mean Thursday morning. Thursday morning is big. And so I asked,
Dave?
no,
Rosa Clem.
Rhoda? Rhoda?
no, behind us,
Colonel Rosa Clem
Oh, the chair?
of the cage.
the chair.
Oh, AGB, now he's got me in.
What are we doing? Oh, they want to email.
Oh, good. Is
Just
there
gonna wait a
space
few
in David's desk?
Do I have an hour early?
Printer. I get you.
I used to use it to scan stuff in, and that's how they scan everything. So if you want to stick with it,
I don't think so.
That's
the couple
Is everybody signed in?
No, I didn't.
Judy? Yeah, Don, Haywood is here, and myself. Yeah, yeah. I do, so I have it. Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
David, when Steve installs the
Big
scanner,
focus behind us.
tell him you want the CC4 icon. CC4. It's the easiest way to operate it.
That's if you're gonna be available to park in this, and stuff.
Oh, okay. Well then, we'll tell him.
The rest of the time.
If he's here at 1, I'll tell him, but
That's what
I have a cleaning lady today. Having ditched her, I forgot her.
You have to prove her.
My guest.
No, there's a special fish that cleans her.
Yeah.
A cleaner fish.
Is that the,
That's the minute, or whatever, this
Oh, I
weather
heard
is
that.
getting.
Got that already?
I have that already.
Oh, you had two? Oh,
Swimming pool and
I
okay,
just
can
hand,
you get that?
I just handed it to him.
Oh, thank you.
Here's
Here's
from.
Thank you.
Same thing.
Same thing, no, it's the same, same thing. We're just gonna wait another moment. Oh, isn't that
Sorry.
Phyllis?
That's high up.
Good morning.
what's this? An email contest.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome on our liquid sunshine day again. You've received the minutes for the beautification. Are there any corrections to the minutes, or are they, yes, Don?
Thank you. In the second paragraph, Barbara Cornish explained the new sign to be 2 feet higher, but needs to keep the same footprint. That's incorrect, because now we're rotating it 90 degrees.
Yes.
So it's parallel to the road rather than perpendicular.
At that time, that was ours,
Oh, okay.
This is the last one.
our needs to do it that way, but it has changed now that we know that. Anyone else? Yes, sir?
I bring this one up only because, having dealt with the county, I find they can be nitpickies. If we rotate this sign, are we gonna have problems? Because they may interpret that as not being in the same footprint, and we may have.
That's right, it's not the
problems.
same footprint. It's being rotated
Are
from,
we gonna have permit problems or?
I think most of the restrictions are height and we have, in our, curb, we're almost at the edge of the curb now. If we rotate it, we can hold it back. You have to be 5 feet from the curb in all directions. However, there's a light pole,
Yes,
and for $475 or so, I believe is the number, we can have it moved back a couple of
If we
feet
need
and
to.
pull it back if need be.
well,
So
the
that we
issue
get-
wouldn't be the front curb, the issue might be the side curb.
So we have 28,
already
we
set.
have
I'll
28
show
feet in width,
Oh,
so we're taking 14, which leaves us 5 and 5.
no problem. Now, you won't have to move that light.
No, the
It'll-
light can
If
stay.
you
Right
do,
in
we'll
front.
have to wait till the sun goes
No.
supernova before
Yeah.
No, we
FPL
don't
gets
have
over
to
here.
move the light, the light gives us more light,
be able to stay there.
it can stay there, there's no
Yeah.
problem.
It creates a situation. We're thinking about putting in LED lighting, which is pretty good for 15, 20 years without.
Internal LED lights.
Internal, yeah. So if the situation arises that we have to access to change the bulbs, if it's against the light pole, how do we pull the panel off? But it's only a flat panel, so, I
He
think,
already said to me, I talked to him about that, if we
or we
could
could
move
we
it,
could put a
could
side
put
panel.
it on the side,
Side,
yeah,
yes,
that's what he
yeah,
told
he
me.
did mention that.
Right.
We also have an electrical engineer here, so we have not one engineer, but two engineers.
Dangerous. We also talked about getting this sign solar powered.
We don't have it in the
No.
budget,
You don't have it in the budget?
Yeah,
No.
it's beaucoup bucks.
and I'm waiting for the figures, but we don't have it in the budget.
Okay.
Money has been spent and we're on a limited budget.
If we have this, I'm sorry, if we have the same weather,
It
the
doesn't
future,
matter,
we
we
have-
get no
yeah,
lights,
we'll have no lights on at night.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it rains.
Nobody will have any lights.
and it doesn't even
The
make
lights go
sense,
out?
it
I'm sorry,
doesn't make
David, I
sense.
interrupted.
No, in this case,
Consumes
it
very
will
little.
take a long time to make up
Right.
the initial cost,
Too much
because
money.
those LEDs pull
Long term,
Nothing,
just a
Minimal.
sip of power
yeah.
exactly.
compared to big incandescents or whatever.
Or even
Or
fluorescents, yeah.
these, yeah.
Donald?
And from what I'm seeing from preliminary plans, the base is hollow, battery bank is no problem, a retrofit down the line is not a big deal. I actually brought this idea up with the thinking that in a power outage, this thing would be lit and it'd be a beacon.
Well, it wouldn't really matter for the cost, it's not that effective.
The cost is astronomical to do that.
No,
But
we
we
don't-
will
no,
get, we're getting a
couple
price
times.
on it,
It wouldn't be, but again,
it's
that's
still not
something
worth
that
it,
can
we
be
don't want
done
it to
after the
interfere with
thing
the
is
Yeah,
site.
after the, maybe if you give us more money in the budget.
You're talking about,
It's time to come up with numbers.
That's gonna be discussed at
I
this
have
point.
like you see on the
I think we're trying
highway,
to approve the
you
minutes.
see them all over the highway, the emergency phones have a little panel up there.
Right.
But I don't think it will be cheap to do that.
No, it'll amount to almost as much as the signage.
Yes.
Oh my
I would
God.
think.
No, it won't be that much.
Not as much.
But we don't have the money to
Okay.
do it, that's the bottom
For
line.
instance, the installation, I
Okay,
looked that
can-
up on Okeechobee Boulevard, I opened the thing up and looked, and it had 4 Trojan wet cell batteries in it and a controller.
Okay,
I was looking at
oh, I got it.
$2,000.
Okay, can we have a second? Who will approve the minutes?
I was gonna say, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Thank you, Judy.
Second.
And Barbara will second it. Thank you.
Gotta get back on track.
Okay, now you were talking, Donald?
Oh, yeah, I went and looked at an installation down Okeechobee Boulevard West. Basically, we were looking at 4 Trojan wet cells, a controller box, and a panel about this big, lighting up an LED sign just about our size. I got pictures of it, I'll send, but
And
again,
what is
down
the
the line-
cost on that, Donald? Are you paying for it out of your own pocket?
All right, for the
Really?
moment,
You don't have,
why don't you get numbers?
right.
And come budget time, we'll think about it.
I mean, figure
Okay, Don?
$200 per wet cell, another 200 for a controller,
Yeah.
another 200 for a sign.
Most times, people use solar cells for saving money on running wire 500 miles
Right.
to,
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
The
from
electric
place to
cost,
place. So we're on the same grid as the firehouse.
and we're up
If
right
the
away.
firehouse isn't running, there's no need for
That's
anybody
right.
to be on Okeechobee Boulevard at the
That's
same time.
I agree exactly.
Yeah.
I did not know they were on here also.
Yeah.
And I think if everyone else's signs are out and the street signs are out and the lights are out, traffic lights,
It's
so
out,
will we be out. and we will come back on. Yes, Barbara?
I have a question to Ed. Ed, I had sent you an email about how much money is left in the beautification budget.
Sebastian can tell me, I'll give you an answer.
Okay,
He's away this week.
okay. Well, we did originally have $27,000 in it.
Actually, it was 30.
But now
so-
1,200 on the bill for Haverhill came in that was paid, so that will reduce it, and I don't know what else was applied towards it till he finds out. But we're still within the budget for the sign, one way or another. I have some papers, if you don't mind, Arlene.
No, go ahead.
That we got a price from Stella when David suggested to move it parallel to Okeechobee. We originally were looking at this way, the way it is now. This was the signs I got from Stella, which you can pass around. And in 2015, this sign here was about 15,000, 10,000, and he said it probably will go up to about 14,000. I said, fine. Then I said to him, I'd like that bottom sign turned around and made parallel, because it'll be much bigger, which is a good idea. And he sent me this saying that a 17 by 10 foot sign would be 34,000, which is out of our budget. Okay? I have all the emails from him, anybody wants to see it, I didn't have time this morning. Meanwhile, I'll just let
It's
me
okay,
finish.
yeah.
Meanwhile, David gave me this came from Barbara Vera, who did the laundry room. This was if you kept the sign the way it is, he wanted to paint it, and this is if you do it parallel to Okeechobee, what he wants to do. I have no idea what kind of material, I have no idea the cost, I don't know any idea who would install it, just he wants to paint it. It's just for the committee to look at. And then this is the sign that I got from Farron, that anybody who was at the meeting, Donald, Haywood, Arlene, and Donald saw that.
I think the sign is outstanding, the colors will pop, you're gonna see it. Right now, if you take a ride, Okeechobee, Southern Boulevard, any place, we have a sign that needs updating, big time. It's very, very old, extremely old, and why don't we just put a sign, old age home? I mean, that's horrible, really, that is horrible, it's an old sign, get rid of it, get with the modern generation.
I need to interrupt.
Yes, Sandra.
Since I'm taking notes, I evidently, while I was out, missed a meeting that went on, and so I'm a half a step behind. The things that,
Well, she
This
can
is
tell
not-
you it later if you
Yeah.
want, she'll bring you up to par. You wanna continue from here on,
thank you.
okay?
Okay, yes, Barbara.
I just wanna let you know that Farron, the people who were at the meeting, get together, did Golden Lake sign. Golden Lakes had a sign for 25 years and they felt time to update. And Farron Sign did it. I went down there the other day in the rain and took a look at it. I haven't gotten down there at night to see how the illuminated lettering will be.
I did, it looked nice.
Yes,
Oh, okay, I didn't see
I
it.
also have
Oh,
seen
you
it at
did.
night.
And if that's what they're gonna build for us,
That's what they're gonna do.
Yes.
that's a good sign.
Yes, so
Thank
I'm
you.
just
Yeah,
letting
that's what
you
we
know,
got.
the price, this was a proposal, and roughly it's 19,905, plus there'll be permit and other costs. I figure the other costs will probably bring us up to about 22,000, okay? He has everything written in here. I'm not gonna hand this out because we're waiting for one more bid to come in. I'm waiting. If it comes by the next meeting, fine. If not, I think we have to go forward. We have two bids already, 34 and 19 to 22 with permits and everything.
Is that for a one-sided sign or a two-sided sign?
For
It
a
has to be-
parallel
It
sign,
has to be one side.
it's the one that you're seeing right there.
So the
And that's
lettering
the
only
dimensions.
facing the,
Right,
because what we
that's
have
what
now,
Donald,
it faces east and west.
that's what David suggested to
Yeah.
do, so I changed it parallel.
You think of the geometry and the optics. it's visible by traffic going either way continuously. If it's the way it is now, it's visible, and then bingo, you're cut off, like that. That's really the only reason I thought to do that. There's a lot of ways you can do this, but I think you'll get, and it gives you space, as Barbara said, to make a bigger sign. Makes
Exactly.
it more visible.
And when the people will notice us and say,
Yeah.
wow. When I was sitting at the red light, which we often do, you know what you see? Welcome. Welcome to where?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't see it. Yes, Barbara?
I will tell you, at first when David mentioned to me, I wasn't so much for the idea till he started explaining the bigger sign, you'll see it more. But more than that, all the signs between us are east and west, like our sign is now. This way, we're gonna define ourselves as different, so we will stand
Exactly.
out, just in the visibility that way.
Exactly.
So that's why I
And
had
the
agreed
bank
with-
sign is annoying. Wells Fargo sign, they overpower us. We have to stand out
Right.
and we have to get with the
Right.
program. And I think that will be
And we're also
fine.
gonna need whatever money we have left over to do landscaping once it's done. So we really can, we're pretty tight budget,
Right, we're gonna save the plants that are around it. There's some
as
new
much as we
plants
can.
that are very good. There's a
Even the
huge rock
trees we can save.
that will look very nice also.
Mhm.
We're gonna be able to save them, move them someplace temporarily. Ed, I need your help. Temporarily, we can move them to another location, replant them, and we will be fine. It's gonna save us on landscaping. David?
I just mentioned this in passing. As you're aware, all of the security lighting around the perimeter road, and this is gonna be a beautification issue because they've all been changed to LEDs. I don't know the precise power draw on each, but we can find out. Now, Donald just showed me a picture. And preliminary to me saying this, I will advise you that we have an electric bill every month in excess of $12,000. Now, I don't know what it would cost to do this. But if you had a small solar on each one of those lights, and that's assuming FPL will allow it because they're not our poles. The initial cost would be staggering, of course, there's over 200 of those lights. But it would amortize out because those new lights do not draw a lot of power.
Exactly.
It's just something to get preliminary studies on, but you have to look at the picture he's got. It's not pretty. You're gonna have to find a way of hiding them.
That's why you don't want it on the sign, David.
You see, you're gonna have a pole, you're gonna have a panel,
Yeah.
and they're everywhere. So it may not really be aesthetically pleasing, but the money would work out over time.
Judy's next, then I'm raising.
Yes, I have Judy.
I just had a question, I was trying to figure out dimension wise and whatnot, how deep, how tall is the stone part?
Does it stay there?
It doesn't give its section itself, but I mean, if
It looks
this
like
is
it's about
10 and
18,
this is,
this is,
Like 18,
if this is
yeah.
24 inches.
right,
It's
that's
not
pretty
that
much-
high up.
yeah.
And Judy, just
A
for
little- a
clarity,
little under
it's
2
not
feet.
actually stone or stone.
Yeah,
face.
I meant the
Okay.
stone look,
Yeah,
It's
stone
an
look,
an
right.
embossed aluminum.
the faux stone.
It's Fouts.
I was just,
Yes,
the
yes.
faux stone. I'm just worried about the plantings and I understand how
They have to
high,
be kept low.
because
You don't wanna take away
that's
from
the most
sign.
beautiful part of it, that upgrades and makes
See,
us classy.
If you see in there, that's why they have just an idea of low planting, because your main objective is to show a sign and where we live, not the plantings around it.
Right, yeah,
That's
I was
not
just
important, it's the
curious
sign
to-
that should be the objective,
Yeah.
and that's what we should do.
There's plenty of low plants that we
As far
can
as
put.
what David, I'm sorry, I say what David said about the
Thank you for that
solar, it
clarification.
might be a good idea, but we don't have the money,
Down the road,
so
long range
maybe
plan
next year's
perhaps?
budget.
If you're serious, the time to bring it up on the table is budget time.
Right.
Which is not that far away.
Right.
We're
exactly.
gonna talk about that today.
Mm-hmm.
Once we have,
What do they look like, Don? Can you-
sorry, once we, I'll show it to you in a minute. Once we have the actual dimensions of this, the electrical specs, then we can actually get a price on the upgrade.
That's
and know
true
it,
too.
And then get it to the budget.
But we can't, I'm sorry to, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Hayward.
I think that $2,000 is way too high for solar panels.
I
I've
do.
got two that I'm gonna put outside my apartment when I need the power, after a hurricane and everything goes off, to power up my phones and my computers. Those two panels are the size of that box over there.
Right.
And they cost me $300 total. The controllers were about $65 a piece, wiring, another $50. We're talking $500 to $750.
And someone
Which
to
we
install.
could perhaps roll into the cost of the sign, cause it is part of the.
We just got money taken away from us
That
for
we
a
would
job
have been
that was
able to
done.
utilize.
And it's brought the money down, and I can't see, well, it can come to a vote here, but I can't see putting solar panels on a sign that's gonna distract from the beauty of the sign.
Let Donald
You're not
get
gonna
the
save
numbers.
that.
Oh, yeah, I could do that.
And the question is whether you have to put it up in the treetops,
Or,
or you can put it on the back of the sign.
Well, that's another thing, if it's on the back of the sign, totally
orientation
different.
is part of this too. It has to face the
Can
right
we-
way. It's
Or get
Can
permission
we
to
put it on the light pole? On
And
the
you
light
need
post?
permission to
I
put
said
it
it
on the
first.
light.
Oh,
You're not gonna
so-
take much power, all you're doing is charging a battery during the day, and at night,
David,
that's all, the time you need it.
I have the answer to your question on the light pole.
I'm second in line, you have to go over here. The light post.
When I was trying to get Wi-Fi here in the village, an antenna is about that big and that wide. And FPL nixed it. They said no more than 100 square inches. And they quoted wind loading problems, which I think is ridiculous. This
No.
giant Egyptian obelisk sunk 12 feet into the ground. Give me a break. But if you can do it within 100
Inches.
square inches, they'll let you do it on their poles.
you know, they put their own antennas on their poles. I see them up
It's their
down.
poles, that's why.
I've had experience with that with the town that I lived in. I had a museum. And they used to have the antenna for the police department on a school across the street. They were gonna demolish the school and they wanted to put it on my museum. I had a slate roof, I had copper gutters. And I said, no, because there's too much whip with it. But that was the only building that they could put it on, and I went there and I knew right away, I said, you bring in the fire snorkel. The snorkel truck can come in. And the guy said, I said, oh my God, you went on my roof, because he broke the slate. He goes, I'll never do it again.
Yeah.
But it does have a whip, and that had to be, I'm gonna say a 4-foot antenna to take the whole Meadowlands in and a whole downtown below the hill. So there is a whip.
We're talking about a sign, and we can find out how much usage that LED lighting for that is going to take. Is it worth doing? You gotta look at the whole picture. On the poles for our lighting, absolutely, I agree with you. But on that sign, it's such a minimal amount, it's ridiculous, in my opinion, but that's only one opinion.
LED is modern, that's us, we're gonna get modern. Yes, Barbara.
I just wanna ask you is that we're waiting for Edgar Santos. Doesn't look like he's gonna get back to me. I've called him numerous times for a price, so we have 2 prices so far. And I just wanna know how this committee feels about going forward with a new sign. Because remember, we have to go through bids, ours is only a recommendation. Goes through bids, it goes through the offices, it goes to the executive board, and it goes to delegate assembly. So this is gonna be a process. So the longer you wait, the more of a problem you're gonna have.
Yes, no.
Who is the second bidder for the sign?
Stella signs.
Stellar signs.
Yeah.
And is there a plan for it as far as,
I have some on my email. There was something I sent around, I thought, somewhere. It tells you the
Text
price.
specs?
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know, do we have that?
the reason I'm asking is because when I happened to sit into this meeting, and this essentially is the same construction as we have, which I was pretty
The
jazzed up
other
on.
is not, you know that,
Yeah.
because you saw a piece of that.
Yeah,
that
so
day.
so that's where I'm getting,
Yeah.
I think this is great, but
Well, the price is that's 19 or 222,000. That sign down there turned around that way is 34,000. He wrote it to me in an email.
so
So we can't even
Not-
look at that price.
so not to use a
The
cliche,
bottom.
but here I am gonna use it, we need the apples to apples, we need something that's.
Alright, they have,
Well,
we
maybe
were
you'd like
apples
to
to
get
apples, both companies purchased from one main company.
Thank you.
Because I called that main company and he said, we cannot sell to you, but here is the people we sell to and
Peachtree, right?
Right, so-
Peachtree,
so-
right, Peachtree's the one.
I
And
haven't
he
seen the
sells
plans on
to
this
them.
one, so this one is all metal, no fiberglass or wood?
No wood, but it's not, you saw it,
It's
Dominic.
it's the same
when
with
the guy
the
was here
same
from
company
Stella.
as
Yeah.
the
He
other
bought
one,
that piece
Stella.
on the truck.
And
What
that
is
one-
that
and
material?
that one
Polystyrene and
Same
it's
materials.
covered with an
So this is
epoxy.
polystyrene epoxy, this
And
is all
that's
metal.
all metal,
Yeah.
correct, right. Mhm.
Yes, David,
Don't elucidate. Structural aluminum, steel,
Yeah.
what kind of metal?
All structural aluminum is
Aluminum.
what he said,
Yeah.
no steel.
this company is better, they're making it better. He brought in, the gentleman, Tim, brought in a display to show us what the lighting will look like. And you will see it. You will not miss it on the highway, on Okeechobee. Yes, Don.
Can I offer a modest critique? We're giving more value to the word village and less to century. And also was mentioned how high is the stonework. If we elevate the stonework a bit, make village the same size as century, then it doesn't just say, here's the village, it's century village. So give equal value to both century and village, pick up a little more on the stonework, so when your plants grow, they don't obscure the lettering.
Well,
Yes.
they'll be able to be trimmed and there'll be shorter plants that we'll be putting there.
Yeah.
There's almost ground cover that you can
Mhm.
put there.
Yeah.
And it'll be fine, ground cover is great. Yes.
I thought of that, Dominic, but then you cannot keep the sign with the design it has on the top, which is very attractive, you're gonna have to square it. Because to make Century the same size
No,
as
century,
Village.
century can say that size, I think reduce village.
Why would you wanna
in-
reduce
No.
something that's gonna pop so it catches people's eyes?
People will see village, oh, Century Village. That's what their eyes are gonna go right to the word village.
Okay,
Has everyone seen a picture of that sign?
here it is, if anybody hasn't.
Pass it on.
Is the century and village wording going to be the same color?
Yes,
Yes.
white, and
Gonna
it'll
have the
pop
light
out with the
behind
brown.
It sticks
The
out
tan.
this much, the lighting, you
Mhm.
can see it on Golden Lakes.
And their sign does, like I mentioned before, it shows up very nicely at night. I think if you spot the word village, you're gonna see, oh, Century, there it is.
I thought the idea that one was done in script and one in block even made it look better that way instead of all the
Yes.
same, but that's just a woman's opinion, you know.
Don't say that,
No,
it's as valid as
Do we
any.
really wanna emphasize?
When it comes to
Not all the time,
when it comes to aesthetics,
Not all the
I can
time.
see
exactly.
not all the
women
time.
won't
We wanna
decide.
see village, and then they'll notice of the Century.
Not cemetery.
Right,
Choose the
oh,
century.
excuse me.
Huh.
We better make sure it's not misspelled. But the point is, this might not get done. But it has to go to the people. The people, no matter what we do to bring it, if the people don't wanna spend the money, then it doesn't get done. And that's up to the people. But we have to start at the certain steps, recommending this to the bid committee. And if they don't recommend it, that's fine, it goes to the officers anyway. And if they don't recommend it, it goes to executive board, it goes down the line, because the people make the final decision.
even if they vote it down, now that you have a good plan in place, you could always take it out of the drawer and bring it next year.
I don't care what you do with it, because I will not be here, Donald, but that's
Main thing-
beside
main
the
thing is
point.
to have
for him, what the damn?
Yes, Hayward.
Well, I think what you're saying is we have to come up with a sales campaign.
Yeah.
Really, we have to
I'm
point
not
out
even-
why we need this, what the benefits are gonna be, and we have to go out positively and say, okay, we need a sign because when we got, looks like it's dead and so
It's
are we.
curb appeal, it's curb appeal, that's what
Exactly.
it is. But the point is, we have to see if we can get a recommendation from this committee to go forward.
Yeah.
To the next committee, which is the bid.
We have to sell it to these committees,
Yeah, right.
basically.
Right, but the main thing is to sell it to the people,
Yeah.
they're the ones that count.
Yes, David.
We have two projectors available, we can actually project it up on that back wall like we project the votes. In other words, we could do a little PowerPoint,
Visual.
right?
Yes.
And that will look very nice, expanded
Oh,
on that
exactly.
wall.
Computer generated landscaping all around it.
Yeah,
Yes, Judy.
I was wondering too if we should make note in our minutes and whatnot, and thanking the artist that did the renderings or whatever. Looks like there's a
The
couple
company
of-
did it.
Yeah, we did not do it.
Okay,
No.
just thanking them for that, but I think this look is more modern and up to date.
Yeah, they're the
They're the
experts.
ones who
Right.
came up with this, they're the ones who did Golden Lakes.
Acknowledge that,
They have a
but-
good reputation, I'll tell you
Acknowledge that, but I don't think that's a
Yeah,
move
they have a
forward,
very
right?
good reputation and
Right.
I think the people would enjoy seeing something like that. It's gonna make, wow, you're gonna have visitors coming. Wow, what a nice sign. We're gonna get into the modern.
I make a
age.
motion to vote on having a sign change at Okeechobee.
I second it.
And Judy seconds it. Okay, David Israel, how do you vote? What do you say?
I'm gonna vote yes on this, with a parenthetical. We have a lot of high priority projects in the village, I just wanna note that. And we should think, should this be done before some of those high priority projects? I would remind you, we have an engineering report due any minute. 1,300 foot sidewalk replacement, 16, whatever, on Century Boulevard. And if it comes in at a penny less than $200,000, I'd be amazed.
Which is
More.
75,000 more than we put away for.
I'm just
Right.
saying, and I think there are a lot of arguments for updating this. Curb appeal being number one. You look at some of the other signs on the villages, you look at Cypress Lakes, I think is a gorgeous sign.
Mm-hmm.
And as you head west on Okeechobee,
Why don't we just steal theirs?
we just really look staid and old, and that's why I'm voting for it. I think it needs to be updated.
Okay,
Yes, so I'll
Thank
say
you.
yes.
Ed Black,
I
what'd you
agree.
say? Is that a yes?
I agree.
Joy's not here. Stu,
Yeah,
Barbara?
Yes, but I wanna state something like David did. We have other projects that are very high dollar projects. We're looking at $1 million for 2 projects almost, okay? This has been going on for 5 years. This is the lowest price we've gotten on the sign to do it. The money is in our budget. I don't think they should take the money of 22,000 out of our budget to go into something else. They should save for it.
I agree.
And I vote yes for the sign.
Thank you. And then we have David,
No.
Sandra,
No,
Judy,
Yes,
Dom,
Yes.
and Hayward,
Yes.
Arlene Kretz, yes. Well, we have 2, 4, 6, 8 yeses and 2 nos.
I just want to comment one thing, when you talk about curb appeal, with the old sign, the sale of apartments here, units here, still going up, old sign and up. So even though it makes it look a little bit more modern in the front, the motivation for that in terms of selling units really is inconsistent. I mean, you can make an argument saying the sign looks good, we're gonna sell more apartments, but with the sign that is old is still selling more apartments, so there's something else here that is,
You can't do
That is
everything
motivating.
overnight.
Right.
And some things are gonna be long-term. Now, I noticed, they cut down, Donald, they had cut down the hibiscus. They did it correctly. They're looking beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some bare spots, but that's fine. They need the fertilizer, Mother Nature is raining, a lot of rain, and that's what they needed, and that looks fine. If you look around the palm trees, when you're coming in Haverhill, all you're seeing is brown. It'll never grow because they're old plants and they're getting their growth stunt. Because you keep cutting them and cutting them and cutting them, and they're not gonna grow. They eventually should be ripped out. And
Sure.
something else has to be put in there.
Sounds good to me.
Which one are you talking about?
This is the Haverhill entrance, once you come into the
Eureka's.
entrance,
Eureka palms.
yeah, we're seeing all the wood. That is one of the ugliest things to see. David, sorry.
I want to expand on what Stuart said, and I should have clarified this before I voted. I've yet to meet anybody that has told me that they refused to purchase a place here because we have an ugly sign outside.
Yeah.
That's true.
Bring it to their attention, say, oh, did you see the sign?
I have
Isn't
to
it charming?
I have to be honest, last year when we looked in here, what we said to ourselves jokingly, but we truly wanted to be here, I love this place, but we said, isn't it gonna be good, we're gonna bring some youth into here. So I think our age
But the
group
sign
is,
didn't keep you away from buying it.
this is true, it almost
You
did
think
though,
it might
it almost did though. The only reason we
I
stayed is
think
because my
Barbara
husband
thinks.
works in Kaiser, which is 2 miles away.
It's good reason.
Barbara?
I think now that we had the vote for this, I presume it's gonna move forward to bids. Even though we only have one that we vote on was Farron, cause the other's way out of our budget. And we didn't get an answer back 3 times to call Edgar. I still try though, before it goes to bids.
And that other company, I've called him so many times, forget
That's a
him.
way, Salvatore.
I mean, he's so busy, and it's like, I can't even talk to
Yeah,
him.
but the next thing I want to discuss is, Ed is gonna let me know how much money we have left in that will, hopefully, if this goes through, will cover it. That's the main thing. But I think you have to discuss how much money you would like to tell Mr. Black for next year's budget, considering all the stuff you talked about wanting to do.
Are you ready, Ed? Hold on to your seat. 60,000.
Alright, Eddie is gonna send out a letter. At least that has been common practice to every committee chair. And that's where you write down your wish list. You may get it, you may not.
Yes, Donald? Thank you.
Just
David.
stepping back to the sign, I'm always thinking to the next meeting will be bids. We're gonna talk about fruit at the next
Fruit?
meeting, fruit, and the fruit will be apples. You're going to hear an oft-used cliche, apples to apples.
Oh.
Gonna need another apple here. It's gonna come up, I guarantee you.
A third apple?
Well, no,
Okay,
this,
Barbara.
this is a banana. Alright, so you're gonna need an apple. I'm just trying to get you going so that, you know,
We had the gentleman here. We looked at his work, we looked at everything, and he has given that to Barbara, the information.
gotcha, you're gonna need another guy with another apple in hand.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
I have been on the bid committee a long time, chair of the bid committee at one time. Many times, UCO and WPRF have brought in one vendor under recommendation that they be used.
Sure. Sole source,
So that's what we're gonna do.
or you could go get another apple,
Donald?
just say, here's your apple.
No, other people
No.
haven't done it.
They haven't,
We at least got a price.
and we've worked a number of calls.
Yeah, we have worked on it.
Number of
believe me.
calls, let me tell you, the other man, forget. Yes, I'm sorry, go ahead, Donald.
David,
David.
please make sure that when the bid comes in, it includes everything, what irrigation might be needed, what electrical might be needed. You don't want these things added on. Everything has to be included in the quote.
And more,
This quote is only for a sign, nothing else.
And you're gonna need more detailed specs, that's
We
also the
have it.
infrastructure committee, they're gonna ask those questions.
We have it in the paper. On the
In
paper,
other words, this isn't sufficient, you're telling me, the specs.
What do you think,
I will
Tom?
call him and ask
No,
him.
yeah, you're gonna need specifications on.
I'll call him
Pictures
and
of
get it.
You know who's
materials.
gonna ask?
I will call and ask him for it.
but we did talk about the instamatic lighting, cause I had called on those, I'd looked that up to see if we needed a timer.
You mean an intermatic time clock. Got a couple in the shop, so
See,
no worries, it's $100 item.
okay,
And we have electric out there,
I'll take that
Donald?
off my
There's
phone.
electric.
Oh, yeah, there's electricity.
Yeah,
out there.
and
Yes.
it'll be overkill based on what your power needs are gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we don't need as much that's there even. With LEDs, it's very little.
The other thing we're gonna need is a commitment to what's the wind load that it'll resist. It's gotta be 130 miles an hour.
You know what,
The
would
wind,
you
I'm
mind
sorry.
calling and talking to Tim to tell him what we want in specifications
Sure.
since you're the one?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dom, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you that time.
The wind load, it has to,
180.
okay,
It's better than 130.
But we'll get that from him, you're right.
yeah.
Let's get it
I
all
wasn't sure. I
in
heard.
proper
But he did say that at the
perspective.
meeting, Tim said that
Yeah.
it would go to 180.
Well, you heard that,
Yes.
but I think we want everything
Written.
written
Yeah.
down in black and white.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Because he might not write down 180, he might write down whatever the county needs, which is what, 135, 140?
130.
So we don't know. Even though he did say, and he seemed honest, I want it in writing.
Yes, David?
Have you thought about, I'm hearing a mechanical clock of some kind, a solar sensor? I mean, you'll notice on the streetlights,
Mm-hmm.
on the top, there's a little solar sensor, light
That's
sensor.
what the current sign is on now.
And when it gets dark, of course,
So
the thing
if
pops on.
the one that's there now is on it, there should be no problem to put that on the one that's gonna be built, and we have it, am I correct,
Can
Donald?
we do that?
Okay,
Can you reuse it? Probably.
Easy.
Sure.
Probably, I think it'd be a waste, it's a cheap item.
yeah, it's not expensive, right? Okay.
But that's the way we're timing it now, is a sensor on it.
Yeah.
So on a rainy day, it goes on.
Some stuff
Yeah.
out there is on
Like a day like that's dark, it will come on.
The LED uplights are on a clock, the LEDs running up the rope lights, they're on a clock. Streetlights are on sensors and the sign is on a sensor.
Will we need uplights if it's internally lit?
No, I'm talking about the
It would
uplights.
swamp it out.
You
No,
have
yeah.
them there now,
We're
He's
talking
talking
about the
about what's-
uplights on the road pumps,
What's there now?
yeah.
they're on a clock.
Is there anything else regarding the sign? Any questions?
Do we have to get permission for our proximity to the pole from FPNL?
We're not gonna move the pole.
We're already
No, not move the pole, but
this
they
far
say.
from the
side to
pole.
the-
We're on there right now, they're not gonna say nothing. Of course
I'll send that out today.
That's right in the footprint, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not gonna move.
Why? They're not doing nothing, they have nothing to do with this.
Well, we'll
Why
find
would
out
you
then.
need it? Unless you wanna look at
Matter
a
of
I
problem.
don't see how you could get any closer.
Courtesy? I don't know that
Exactly,
word.
it's right there.
Right.
We need the
Yeah.
light.
Yeah, I'd let him know. Courtesy,
Don't cut the wire.
awareness.
No, don't cut the wire.
The thing is, in a windstorm, if this does tilt, it'll put pressure
pole
on the
would-
pole.
yeah.
So the pole will go, so.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we need to discuss? Anyone wish to? We can adjourn the meeting then?
Are we going to allow the Seacrest company to do the landscaping?
We'll get bids.
We're gonna have to get bids on that.
They can
And we have to first see how much money we have. We have to know the money, so we can tell the companies what we're allowed, well, we can't spend 10,000 if we have 2,500.
Sure,
That's just the way
get
it
3
is.
bids and let Seacrest be one of them, why not?
Yeah, of course we would give it to Seacrest, they did a great job on Haverhill, but they're only one.
Yeah.
We can get 3 other companies, and we'll get 3 companies,
Yes,
There
Dave.
there is very little shrubbery anyway to
very
move.
little.
All the low-lying stuff in the front remains the same. the irrigation is already there, so there's no problem there. It's just the ones on the trellis and the small palms would have to be
No, the
moved.
palms might be able to stay at the end of the signs in that 5-foot radius. You might be able to keep those.
We're
You know
gonna
what I
have to
mean?
check it to see if it's aesthetically
Yeah, I think it
going
might be,
to
but we
lend
have
to
to
the
see.
sign or
That will be the
detract.
We have to look at
landscaper to
it.
help us out with that.
They'll know.
They'll know
Yes,
more than we
David.
will.
It seems like we're revisiting something we've already done. We had a competition in here for the landscaping contract. Why do you wanna go through that whole goat road? This is just in a little chunk of landscaping.
Correct.
Right.
What's the point of getting 3 bids? You've
Well-
awarded landscaping to
That-
Seacrest in lieu of Brightview,
Right.
so just
Excuse
hand it
me.
to Seacrest.
Excuse me. The original work that was done outside was done by who? Myers?
Yeah.
And we had Brightview here. We had to get bids, David. That's the process. We're not saying we're not gonna award it to them, but that's the
You've already
process.
had bids
Not
on,
on that, on
on
the,
landscaping.
yeah,
It's a
maintenance.
landscaping line.
Maintenance contract it is. Not to do all our work without any other bids.
Yeah, you have to understand, the nature of this is that when the sign is going to be taken down and the only landscaping that is actually going to be moved or taken away and hopefully reused someplace else
Right.
is the two on either side of the sign that's halfway up there now, that's attached to the wooden
The
trellises.
trellis, right,
That's the only thing that's going to be taken away.
so far.
And once the sign is up and it's facing the direction that you're talking about, there really is not going to be any landscaping that of that size. The only thing that you possibly could do is put in very low level
Right.
plants similar to what's in the front now, and that really is nickel and dime stuff. You can go to Home Depot and buy 25 plants for
Nobody's
about.
gonna go and do that, but we need the company
You
and you gotta
wanna-
pay for labor.
You wanna be careful to avoid a situation which we had before.
Okay.
We went and put in at least 500 feet of hibiscus, Company A, and Seacrest got all snooty about it and wouldn't irrigate it. It's an email that I will keep forever. Do you expect us to take care of plants that we didn't install? Which was an absurd thing for someone like Diane Evans to say. I don't wanna get into that again. You're gonna go and have a bid competition for what, 200 square feet of ground, if that much? And you're gonna pick somebody else, and you're gonna have to have a problem with Seacrest because who's gonna maintain it? You would expect Seacrest to maintain
So
it.
we automatically have to give every job to Seacrest, is that what you're telling me when we do
Well, they're a
beautification?
landscape, they're a landscaping company,
You made a choice.
their
Division.
Yes,
contract.
And
tell-
if you want,
Maintenance.
if you wanna undercut your choice at every opportunity, expect blowback.
We're not looking to cut them out,
This is
they
why the-
probably will do the job,
this
I
is why the
talked to
wax
Steve
vendor-
Turzo.
Was constantly under par because we didn't give him any extra work. We gave him no gravy.
Because Seacrest is gonna have to maintain
Yes,
That's
I
right, that's
understand.
what their contract's
this
for.
massive,
Correct,
new landscaping.
a lot of work.
And you create any coordination issues that guess who has to take care of?
I will deal with Heather because she knew what she was talking about.
She's the only one I
I've
would deal
seen
with.
something out on, right off Southern by Dick's Sporting Goods. They had a couple very neat trees that don't need trimming. And also, they have white rocks over by the Haverhill. They are so ancient in there. They've never been replaced.
They're filthy within 3 months.
Yeah,
No,
all-
no, these
all of
haven't
them.
been touched. These
Well,
haven't
that's
been
what I'm
touched in
saying.
years, yeah.
They just get dirty, and the white rocks are now dirt rock.
3 months or
Dirty
30
rocks.
years, don't matter.
I wanna bring up a
Yes, Barbara.
question while the beautification committee is here. We selected Seacrest because they gave us the best, and they're very nice to work with, they did have a help. But we gave them as our maintenance company, landscaping maintenance, to maintain our stuff. Does this mean, David, because we awarded this to Seacrest, that when you go to do any other landscaping in here, they get it? without any
I wouldn't
question.
say any other, but this is such an
Yeah.
insignificant
No.
job.
We don't know the amount.
For them, it may
do
be,
we?
for them, it may be insignificant, for
But
us,
our budget, it's not
the
insignificant,
budget.
because they gotta rip out stuff, they have to put soil in, and they have to plant. You're looking at probably about,
2,000.
2,000
More
easy.
than- yeah.
Absolutely not.
Oh.
I do not see that.
Do you know what you paid for what you have out there now? $2,700, 26,000, 2,600 and change you paid for what you have out there now.
Out where?
Out on Okeechobee sign, the bill is in the database, check it, from Myers.
But the plants, 3/4 of the plants are not gonna be touched.
Yeah, they are, they're gonna, if they're too high, if the landscaper comes in, Heather comes in, and she does great in designing, and says, we want this out, this is what we wanna put in here, we wanna keep the trees, we don't, we're gonna listen to her, she's the expert on it,
Exactly.
not us.
I think there's a however. If we're expecting them to do more work than they have in their contract now,
Right,
they should expect to be reimbursed for
right,
additional work.
right.
I presume they're maintaining the landscaping
Right
that's there
now, thank you so much,
That's
David,
right,
that's
it's
right.
been there.
So what's the difference? It's
I
gonna be
just
less
don't,
work.
I don't see a huge landscaping tail on this project.
It's not, it's small.
I just don't see it.
No more than 2,000
David,
or
to
To answer,
2,500.
Barbara's question about,
Don-
do we have to bid out every landscaping job, or are we, no, we're never bound to do anything, but I think the determinant would be the scope of the job. Little job, big job, if it's
They
a
have
big
to give
job,
us a price first.
The price
They're
is
not
what
just gonna put
counts.
it in or do.
If
We
they
have
put
to
in
know
and they
the
say
amount.
that's
Our money's very
$3,000,
important.
when they did and they put a job that we were not satisfied for 995 and then billed us
but a ten,
1,285.
or $12,000 job
Big
scope,
difference.
I'm gonna tell you guys, please, let's bid this.
David would like this.
David said not to bid it.
He doesn't wanna talk now. You interrupted.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Say you're sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, I agree with Barbara on that. We were overcharged. We were not supposed to pay for that, so.
But that's not here or there. We work with the company and Steve Terzo's end, who takes care of landscaping, did a marvelous, marvelous job on Haverhill. I would recommend them to anybody for the kind of job they did. But we don't know the cost.
Yes, Don.
Since we're changing the direction of the sign, the company's gonna have to provide a site plan, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I want you to
Before-
talk to
Before they go to
Tim.
the county, you know,
Mhm.
because it's a revision of the
Yeah,
existing
well,
situation.
I'll give you this to look at later. This is a proposal that has engineering on it and everything else. Take a look, but tell them what you think we need.
Are you saying a survey?
Or if, they're gonna have to go to the county and say, we wanna put a sign, and the county's gonna say, well,
Yes.
where is it going? How far away is it from the curbing and so forth? So they're gonna have to locate it on the site map.
But that would be part of the job, not part of the proposal, right?
Right, so if these are the people you go with, then.
But if they're gonna charge you more for it, we have to know. And they will. They'll charge you for engineering. They'll charge you, it's right there in the proposal already,
Permit fees.
permit fees. But he has approximately a price on it. He put a price on it, which is helpful because some places say whatever permits are, whatever the engineer. We don't know, that has it. But that is not the final proposal. We want you to talk to him this morning and we'll get whatever we need.
And he told us exactly, 200
There's somebody
here,
out there that wants to speak to
50.
you.
So the gentleman knows what he's doing. It's not his first rodeo. Anything else to discuss?
Somewhere along the line, you're gonna have to budget for the ripping out of all of those plants that are woody and be replaced because as you said, you keep on chopping the top off and the bottom grows not horizontally, not vertically, but actually horizontally and it becomes totally woody and the plants
Exactly.
do not have the green to
You're right.
rejuvenate themselves.
Yeah, they won't. They're getting too old to do
Nicely
it,
done.
you know, but they need to come out.
We
and-
all have a certain shelf life.
Just gonna say the same thing.
Ours is
Speak
long
for
at this
yourself.
table, everyone at this table has a long
Shelf
long.
life.
Speak for yourself.
John, you're supposed to say John.
This is very good, this reminds me of Esther endlessly going on about how I've exceeded my sell-by date long ago.
Expiration date.
Yeah.
Okay, then I guess we can, anyone wish to adjourn the meeting?
When will the next meeting be, Arlene?
Oh, I have it written down. Hold on, sorry. And it will be July 18th will be the next meeting. Yes, David?
Just to clarify, how many people do you have on your committee?
Well, right now,
We're missing two.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That's it.
6 we have, and then we have a couple people that are snippers.
Do you have enough people?
Yes,
Oh, we
we
have
have
a
enough.
quorum, yeah.
Yeah, we have quorum, yes.
Would you make sure you coordinate the next meeting with Rhoda for the
Yes, sir.
calendar?
Yes, sir,
Thank you.
I will.
Also,
What time?
As
9:30.
As a matter of protocol, we do the vote, it should actually go to your committee members first, and then go to the committee
Okay, sir.
officers, second for those votes.
Thank you, sir. I went according to the list that I was given by.
Redo your list, yeah, right?
And
Um,
does anyone wish to adjourn the meeting?
before you just adjourn it, I just wanna ask Ed, will we have know how much money we have? So we know what we're dealing with by Friday?
$1.98.
Oh, Tuesday? We're in trouble,
Call you
$1.98.
Tuesday?
Can you lend me 2 cents?
Thank you very much.
I will sign a note.
No interest, though, David.
Very good, thank you, Arlene.
Thank you, everyone, for
Make a
coming.
motion to adjourn the meeting.
Judy's making the motion and Haywood seconded it.
You're here.
John, you wanna come in? I'll
Thank
give you
you
the
all,
number,
we'll
you
see you
call.
on July 18th at 9:30.
Start working on stuff.
Very much.
Judy?
See you a lot
Hi,
before.
how you doing?
Barbara? Could I have a copy of the handouts?
I didn't hand them out, I just passed them around, I still need them. But if you need any information, I'll be glad to give it to you, Sandy. Like you need what happened earlier with the company?
Send it.
You need the companies?
I
I'll
have
give
it.
it to you.
Thank you.
Don't get annoyed, I'll give it to you. I
Yes,
just
I have
didn't
it.
pass these around, I couldn't make copies, I'll be glad to. Maybe Arlene, will you tell her about the 34,000, I'll make copies when I go inside.
I wanna let you know, we've had an association meeting for structural, blah, blah, blah. And our association, I called DeSantos over 6 times, cause I documented, he finally got back to me.
He
But
works
it's
well with WPRF, but very hard to get him. I used him on my property.
this Edgar DeSantos, he just won't,
Very,
yeah.
very hard, very
This
good
other,
guy.
this other man, if I called him
Salvatore,
once,
too.
I called him 6 times.
Yeah, I know, I'm just letting you know, he finally, and I said, you're too late.
Yeah.
Well, I can give you, I go, too late, I gave you 5 other tries.
Do we have another meeting now?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we adjourn.
Thank you.
Okay.